Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. I'm back in the silver shop, as you can see today, on a rather interesting day in the silver market. We saw the price get back up to $29, cross 29 on the investing.com chart, as you will see, almost at 29 on the Kitco chart. So some interesting things happening, and we will dig in. Glad to have you all here today. And first, before we start, I would like to mention today's video is brought to you by Miles Franklin. When I, not when I started, but somewhere deep in the channel, as I was trying to figure out how to actually monetize so I could continue doing this, knowing a lot of people do buy gold and silver, wanted to have a place where at least you can know you're getting what you pay for, you can be treated well. And also, it worked out great because Andy, I believe, is still beating the online dealer prices for all the folks who email Arcadia at Miles Franklin, where right now there is a special on junk silver. And while Miles Franklin does not sell online, you can talk directly with Yara, who will get you pricing on anything you need at Arcadia at Miles Franklin. And Andy also sent me this. I did an interview on the Silver News Network last week with Charlotte McLeod. They happened to need some pictures, some silver pictures, and I asked Andy, and he sent this over, which sure looks pretty fantastic. Would anybody else feel all right hanging out in that room? And it's doubly exciting because, as I mentioned yesterday, I just closed up my lease in Denver. About to head up to Minnesota, I'll be leaving tomorrow, where Andy has said that we can actually film and broadcast SilverFest from a silver vault. And he said I can sit on 1,000-ounce bars. So hopefully it'll be something like that. And we can have the appropriate accommodations for a big silver festival and party, which will be coming to you online live September 11th through 13th. We'll take a quick look at the schedule before we wrap up. But let's get into the silver chart. A fascinating couple of days. So here we are Sunday at the open. Let's call that 27.50. Shoots right up to 28 bucks. Then the chart, which is on auto refresh, comes back, and you see the red line is yesterday, so it goes back down 27.60 and gets a big late night spike. Keeps rallying, got close, and we'll take a look at the just so you can see. So my title wasn't complete, wasn't clickbait, because here you see it did cross over. Looks like it got up to 19.22 or 29.22, $19. That was last month in the silver price. So certainly a volatile day. And I've yet to hear anyone even offer an explanation of why the volatility in the silver market has increased. I will stick with mine that you're having the effects of decades of a highly levered product that's duked out in the futures market, which often has no correlation to the underlying fundamentals or action in silver market. And gee, sure didn't help last week when Jerome Powell basically said 0% interest rates forever, 2% inflation, and is not enough. So makes sense to me that in the face of a highly levered market is why silver would suddenly jump $11 in just a little bit over a month, like we've seen, and then have swings like this. I mean, because remember, it's only like 2 or 3 or months, half a year ago, where we'd watch silver. If it moved 10 or 20 cents in a day, that was a groundbreaking event. And now you see, so $1.50 intraday swings. I would suggest that, imagine this will only continue to increase in both directions. And really, perhaps the best thing anyone invested in these markets could do is understand that there are going to be big swings in both directions. Remain calm about that. If you know what's going to happen, I guess 20 plus years, or how many years in financial markets? Almost 20 now. And I guess I think the most useful thing that I've been able to do is I had a bit of a temper when I was a kid, and I've learned to rein it in. Not perfect, but still just saying, all right, well, 5 years from now, is this going to matter? And I mean, again, if someone's short-term trading, that can change that. But if you're investing for the long term, not really caring, because shockingly, I mean, I know this is going to be hard to believe, but once again, you see, and if anyone wants to know why, why silver, well, here you could say there was a big bid. So we have some volume that time. So here on a move up, um, so I do think it can happen in both directions. And again, as we've discussed before in the show, Andrew McGuire talked about in that email to Elliot Ramirez of the CFTC how often the metals are bid up by the same banks that then hammer it down. Again, extrapolating a little bit here, I don't know exactly who was on each half of this trade and what he was thinking at the time. But here you see when it's dropping, I mean, it's not like, we're watching Trading Places and all of a sudden the crop report came out, and you see these drops. Although, on the other hand, we will be watching Trading Places on Friday, September 11th at SilverFest, which I looked up, and I believe one of the influences was actually the silver market. James Anderson of SD Bullion, who will be one of the participants at SilverFest, kindly pointed that out to me. And anyway, it's not an exact science, but I one day wonder if we'll ever get a explanation from Department of Justice or CFTC on that, because at least someone with a background trading professionally for a market maker shop and then studying the market since then, I can't figure out another explanation. Here you have the gold price also got close to $2,000. I'll bet on the futures chart actually did get over. And I know you're going to be shocked, but it just so happens that right when gold is getting destroyed, I don't know, destroyed down $20, but pummeled, again, you have that same spike in volume. So if anyone ever gets a response from the government regulators that receive paycheck funded by you and I and anyone else who pays taxes, and says, gee, that's kind of odd, happens a lot, could you comment? If anybody does hear from anyone, let me know. In the meantime, I have an update, because last week I reported that you could actually see a weekly withdrawal of silver from the silver truss, although I guess it depends on what day you look at it, because here you can see when that week was completed, we are back in positive territory. Here we'll break it in, not as much as recent weeks, but here on the daily you can see there have been some withdrawals, but still net silver going into the truss. So, and again, you can see this is the last 2 years, so it puts in perspective, or actually let's go back 20 years. So you can see what's been happening really since the whole COVID thing started off. Not just big, but historically large. I mean, especially that one, I think it was 42 million ounces a couple of weeks ago, was the record. So we will keep an eye on that. Another great reason to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And that way, I mean, you can look it up yourself. This comes from Nick Laird's Gold Charts Are Us, which is a pay service. It's a darn great pay service, with that said. And I thank you, Nick, for these great, I mean, you should see the stuff that he has in here. I got to dig through it more one day, but we'll continue to show you things from there. But if you don't have the pay service and you want to stay tuned on what is happening, especially in silver, then I will continue to cover that. Here we have a quick look at the silver stocks. As you can see, they were down quite a bit. Maybe not quite a bit, but it's interesting. Up here you see the SLV chart. So even when silver was up, and I mean, maybe we'll get some numbers to this one of these days, but it just feels like there's a lot of time. You see these miners open and then they just see the green on the left of all of these mining stock charts, and then just some heavy red. And last week it looks like First Majestic still down on the year. Silvercrest might finally be higher in price than when silver was $18. That's what's been stunning to me. If you look at when silver was $18 and the price of First Majestic or Silvercrest, depending on the day, some of them are actually down the stock price, with the price of silver $10, $11 higher depending on when you look, which I know a lot of people are wondering about. Fortunately, that's another thing we'll be digging into plenty at SilverFest. A lot of newsletter and mining stock analysts who are going to be there. Gwen Preston, who you heard from maybe not last week, yes, it was last week. She is on board, as well as a whole host of others. So again, I think in due time that will all sort itself out, but did not happen today, shall we say. Although something interesting that I did come across today was this article by Austrolib. Not too familiar with him, although I have caught another one of his articles last week. And this was interesting because he says, if you want to see what a run on the COMEX looks like, watch palladium. And we scroll down here. It really looks like it could be happening as we speak. I've never seen this before, and I don't know how the COMEX will handle it, but if there's a raid on palladium, should be a nice preview for gold and silver. He mentions we're at 290 total September deliveries so far, 280 contracts still open that will most likely call for delivery because rollover is passed, and only enough palladium, eligible palladium, to satisfy 529 contracts in the COMEX vaults. Let's see. So, is there a good human actions-based Austrian school explanation for why gaps tend to get filled? I'll have to think about that, but I like that he is mentioning Austrian economics. Always a good sign. And yeah, I've wondered about palladium. A month or two ago, we were focusing on the palladium and platinum contract deliveries. Here's a quick look. You can see the price. Wow, that's a wide spread there. I think that's even pretty wide for palladium. $150 widespread according to Kitco. I'll look into that. But here you see, here is palladium. Numbers much smaller than gold and silver. And I commented back when we saw this 203 burger put up in June, which, you see how small the other months were. In July and August, 2 contracts delivered, and now we're already up at 290 in September. So it's a little bit big. And I checked in with David Jensen, who maybe him and Craig Hemke, the real palladium experts. I'll be curious to get his comment on that. Maybe we can grab him on the show. Here's a quick look at gold. So you saw we had that big 31,000 in April. Then the record, I think that may have been a record too. Then another record, 55,000 in June. Then we have final numbers for August, 49,000. So it was not a new record, but not far off either. Another big number. And then let's take a look. I believe we'll cross platinum before we get to silver here. Platinum, again, back when we had that last big palladium number, here was platinum spiking, although looks like small numbers so far. I'm not sure when are the delivery months. Possible it could be October for platinum. I will look into that, but we'll see if that follows the palladium chart. And here is silver, where does not at the moment appear as if we're headed for a new record. We saw 17,294 in July. I mean, a decent amount. So 7,000 contracts. That's over 35 million ounces, over 36 million ounces. So, well, I guess for people who are wondering whether September would be the knockout blow because of COMEX deliveries, Where is that break point? Well, I sure wish I knew. And when I do, I will tell you on the show when I do find out. I've been looking for that break point for the last 11 years now, or maybe 9 years, looking for a break point in that sense, where feeling that you have more claims out there than there is metal. And really what I've attempted to do is similar to how, let's say you knew Bernie Madoff or Enron were running a Ponzi scheme maybe years in advance, but just what are the signs right before it implodes? Did they stop paying their distributors or their counterparties or whatever it was? And that's how I've studied silver, thinking about what would be the signs when something was finally about to break into markets. And certainly, large deliveries, Fed running a hyperinflation campaign with seemingly no end in sight. I have not seen the smoking gun that says we're off to 50 and beyond at a certain point yet. Who knows? Maybe we will or won't see something conclusive about that. Hopefully it will. Love to. My goal has been to pile on a big option bet. I mean, essentially, let's say you knew silver was going to go from 30 to 50 in a given month, and the miners finally actually went up when that happened. I mean, the more specifically you can identify that time window, can crank up some high multiples in option land. Easier said than done, but that's what I'll be keeping an eye on. And fortunately, a lot of those clues, if you have not heard of it yet, I don't know if I wrote a book. I mean, it was done interview style format, anyway, I like to think it's a great roadmap for what's happening now, what's going to happen. Fortunately, there's been a lot of great feedback on it. Wow, we're up to 34 ratings. Thank you to everyone who left a rating. 96% 5-star, 4% 4-star. So that sounds like a pretty good score, and I thank you for that. Is the audio version available as well? And, although fortunately you don't have to take my word for it, you can check out the ratings here. And thanks. There's my friend James Hansen, great man that I got to meet last year at the New Orleans Investment Conference. So anyway, that is there. You'll also have a chance to win a free copy of it at SilverFest, which is coming your way September 11th through 13th. Audio copies I just stacked driving up to Minnesota, and I have some copies ready to be signed and given away. And we have, as I mentioned, Friday night Trading Places. Then here's the schedule: David Morgan, Andrew McGuire, Ronan Manley, Bill Holter signed on. We do have, I have a special announcement. I talked to my friend Jim Willey this weekend, and we got Jim. He's gonna have his segment. I'm gonna corral him just into silver talk for 15 or 20 minutes. But I think one of the fun things, and there's actually a bunch of stuff planned for SilverFest that I'll be sharing in the next week and a half leading up to that. We'll also have a barter post. You can trade silver coins. If you want to actually barter services, anything legal, as much as I may disagree with some of the legalities, we'll keep it legal. But maybe you are a great marketer and you have marketing skills and you're looking to earn silver. Maybe you have some other skill and you need something else, but a place where you can interact with people. We'll find a way that people can post what they might have to trade, what they may be interested in trading for, and just anything to facilitate. Ooh, I hope the Bush gang doesn't hear us. Facilitate trade outside of the dollar. Ooh, oh goodness. So do think it's interesting if you go back, look at Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. Many people think that it wasn't so much the oil that really was why they got picked on so hard, but that they talked about doing trade outside of the dollar. And Arcadia barter post or not, I still think that's coming. Jerome Powell seems to want to make sure about it. So anyway, at SilverFest, we'll learn how to pick great stocks. Peter Spina, I'm gonna have to update the schedule, but Peter Spina is going to be on that one. We got Gwen Preston in there. Then this is going to be a fun one. What's the price of First Majestic silver when silver crosses $50? David Morgan, Jeff Clark going to talk about that. Florian Brumis giving us a European perspective on silver. So a lot of good stuff coming. Gada's on board. James Anderson. We'll be talking options. Warren Buffett. There's Ed Griffin, Alex Newman, and Scott Craig. Going to dig into the history of silver. And again, the best part, I don't think we go more than 2 consecutive hours without giving some silver away. And now we also have a couple companies. First Majestic going to be there. Dolly Varden Silver is joining in as well. And I believe there's a couple more coming. So a lot of the silver stocks that we'll be discussing, you'll be able to meet representatives, in some cases even the management or CEO of some of these companies. And there's Ted Butler. Excited to have him on board. Ask Denver Dave. You can see if you can get him riled up yourself. Ask the experts. We're going to have Bill Holter in that one. Then a couple hours after we wrap up, just making new friends, celebrating silver, and saying goodbye. Because, yes, we're going to be talking about the markets and all that stuff. But perhaps far more importantly, just connecting good people with each other. I get all the messages you guys send in. I appreciate those and feel really blessed to be a part of this community. And really that everybody else gets to share in it now as well. So again, on top of it, free to attend. So just go to arcadiaeconomics.com, click on SilverFest 2020, click to register, and I will see you there. And in case you still did not have enough silver action for tonight, we just posted a roundtable I did with David Morgan, Bix Weir, and Jean-Claude of Beyond Mystic. And that is coming your way now.